Hello and welcome back to the Half Thumb Homestead. Today we're going to go in the attic on my master wall to protect those pipes way back there on the wall there. Had a guy come in and replace the water valve, and he moved the pipes to where they're not insulated at all anymore, and we got a freeze coming. So I'm going to build out the wall a little bit and put some insulation in there and keep those pipes from freezing. And in case you're wondering, no, this is not how I lost my thumb. So I got 3 new 2x4s and 1 old one. I'm going to start by crawling back here and measuring between the drain pipe going to the left, the vent pipe, and the bottom down there. I'm also going to put in a small area to stand because the pipes go down and to the right underneath the house. So let's get back there so you can see it. So as you can see, when the plumber came in here and changed that valve out, he left everything as strewn, cast everywhere. It used to be covered. We had, as some of you who follow me know, I live in Texas, so we don't get very cold out here. We had a cold snap back in 21, I believe it was, that we were below zero for like a day. Below freezing for, I think they said 200 and something hours. And this is the only pipe in the house that froze. So I came back here with a space heater and stuck a space heater back here to heat the area up, and it thawed out just fine without breaking. Then 2 years later, we had to change out the valve. So for $850, this is what it gets you. Crap everywhere. So I'm going to put in a small platform right here to cover those pipes going under the house that way. And then I'm going to step this out by a 2x4, put the insulation back in there, and then cover it with plywood. So whatever that distance is here, .25 inches is what my plywood will be wide. And then I believe it's probably 8 feet or so. So I'm going to use just 1/2 inch plywood. If I was doing the floor, I'd use 3/4 because I'm walking on it, but I won't be walking on it. I'm only going to use probably 6 screws per piece of plywood. Now we're talking 25 by 24. So I'm going to cut them at 25 inches wide. And they'll be 24 inches long. Typically when I do stuff like this, it's 24 by 24, and I use 6 screws to hold them on because easy access, 6 screws. So let's get let's get some measurements here of from the base up to the top with our vent pipe in there, because we have to obviously cut the 2x4 to fit over the top of that vent pipe. Now you can also use drywall if you choose to cover this area on the wall up, and then use your plywood on the floor, which I do have a strip of plywood here, or excuse me, drywall here, so I may end up using that if I have more of it. But the idea is just to box that area in, so if it does get cold, the heat from the water in the pipe will make that area nice and warm and keep it from freezing. Get some measurements, and I'll be back. Okay, I've stuffed all the insulation I have back in. That should protect it pretty good. I just need to now add the 2x4s onto the standoff here. And then we'll put the drywall over the top of it. And then on the bottom, we'll actually do a piece of plywood so I can stand on it. This line here is one I ran to my garage fridge for water, ice. And then obviously there are 2, one's hot, one cold. So we'll have to notch out the plywood to fit in there. So let's get into it. So I've cut 2 pieces of 2x4 here, 36 inches long. They're going to go lengthwise over the rafters, and now I'm going to drill holes in the top to attach to the rafters with 3.5 inch screws. So this is the first one we're going to drill here. You want to make sure that you don't Get the wires up underneath your 2x4s, so make sure that's got enough space on it there. You could also notch that off if you need to. We're going to put one screw here, one here, and probably one up there. Okay, so I've drilled the holes with this drill bit. You probably want to get a longer one, but I was able to put the 3.5-inch screw in there. Just your number 10 3.5s deck screws. I'm trying to use all the same head design for all these, so it's probably in that far, which is good enough. Same with this one. Gives it rigidity. We're just standing on it, so I'm not going to put one in that corner up there. It's too hard to get to. Originally I'd measured this to be 36 inches wide, but I'm going to add a piece in the middle. So generally when you're doing this and you cut your plywood, it's easier to cut it in 24-inch lengths. So if it's 24 long by 24 wide, you can easily lay your studs up. And you don't have to measure every time. So that's what we're going to do. Now that I've got my cross beams on at 24 inches on center, I can go out into the garage and I can cut my plywood, which in this case is going to be 36 long by 24 wide. So I may just, 24 by 36 is what I'm going to go cut. Now you could also put one on this side over here, but I'm not going to do that because the area I'm trying to compass is just right here. But I wanted a platform to stand on if they have to change this again. So, and like I said, we're going to hold this in with 4 screws each panel because you don't need anything more than that. So let's go cut some wood. There's my 2 pieces, 36 by 24. We'll have to take a jigsaw up and cut out where the water lines go up. So here I've cut out the wires over there. And for the pipe to go up, I'm getting ready to attach it. Remember, they're 24 inches on center. This might be off a little bit because I'm not a framer. So let's attach this one. So we're only going to attach using 4 or 6 screws depending on your length. I'm only going to do 2 screws on this one. It's not going to get a lot of traffic over here. I'm going to pilot drill the top in a couple spots. I've just got some 1-inch wood screws here. That's it, man. Tightens everything up. It's up to you if you want to bury them or not. And then I'll put a couple over here. Probably just missed being on center there, but you get the idea. This gives me a nice platform I can work off of if I ever have to change that water valve out again. So you can do this in an attic, you can do this over wiring, you can do this pretty much anywhere. If you hate that ugliness and you got to walk on top of it a lot, you can channel it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this other side here. So the only thing we have to cut off for this one is the hot water line there. Of course, I didn't bring my pencil with me. So we're going to get a gauge of how far it is here. We're just going to razor blade up and we'll saw it out. Make sure when you're cutting there's nothing below you. That would suck to hit a water line or electric line. So it should slide up there. There's a couple 2x4s below this, or 2x6 I might need. Yep, there it is. Before we go deeper with that, we're going to take this 2x4 and we're going to put it in here. Like so, and then we'll attach this guy to it. That holds all my wiring going upstairs. So, gotta love electricians. They only care about themselves. This will give us some rigidity on the back side here of the wood. Just going to put 2 screws in it. I'm going to widen the top hole so my tip will go in further. When I say tip, I mean that guy, to go in deeper in order to get the screw to bite more. It wasn't very deep on the other ones. I just need a longer drill bit and some other stuff to make it work good. So again, these are 3.5-inch screws. We're going to attach it right to the top of that beam. Or if you used a bigger drill bit to open that hole up, but it'll work. Again, there's not a lot of traffic on this one. This is the first time I've done this, so now we got some rigidity there, and we can put in the 2 small screws. Or in this case, 4. So you can see if I step on this, it's pretty weak. That's why we like to use 3/4 for this stuff. But again, this is just in case platform. That's too big. So there, if we use 3/4 inch plywood, it wouldn't flex at all, but right now it's flexing a little bit. But it's good enough for what we're doing. Now we're going to put up the 2x4 stanchions on this guy all the way to the top to keep the hot air in. So let me measure and do some cut. So we've cut the boards for the vertical. Now we're just going to drill them up so they'll hold on here to the drywall. You got to remember too, when you're doing this stuff, there may be blanks on here to keep you from drilling into pipes. So there's literally nothing behind that. So they drilled the hole originally to put the water through there, and they didn't use it. Or maybe my guy, when he replaced the water valve, put it on this side. So always keep an eye out for these, because you won't be able to go through these with your screw. And make sure you don't have wires behind there, because we're in the attic. So you don't want to go through there and pierce some wire or pierce water. That would suck. Just finish drilling these up here. Goes on this side, 42.5 goes over here. Now my luck, as soon as I put a screw in, it's going to go right into into his nail or something. Good enough. So that's going to have a piece of drywall on it. And we're probably just going to go over the top of this all the way up if we can. 2 pieces. So then we got to measure the top portion, and I may go across that way also just to close it up. Up there, that top portion. From the drain to vent pipe up. Okay, I've pre-drilled everything on the upper pieces, so we can stick those on. Don't forget about paying attention to what's behind your stud and watching for these metal blanks. So you can see that hole there. They used to have a pipe going through there. Not on this side. and now it just runs up along the inside there. And all this stuff will be held in when we get the drywall over the top of it. So I'm going to hack job this. This piece of plywood is just, or excuse me, this piece of drywall is just sitting up here. So I'm just going to center it and use it. And then I'll put a piece of drywall up top up here. So we want the next homeowner to know that this is just in place to cover the pipes up. So I've only used 6 screws on each piece holding the drywall on. This last one up here I'm going to bevel. It's going to rest up here and just kind of sit over the top here, just to enclose that area so the heat stays in behind the wall. So we're going to go cut that. It's going to be 12 inches by 23 across and should fit right in there. And then we'll put 2 screws up top to hold it on and then 2 on the bottom. We should be good to go. So I'm just using the scrap pieces of drywall that I have to fill up the space here. Just 2 screws lightly put in here just to hold it so it don't fall out, and 1 or 2 on top. And then I found some of this packing foam in the attic over there, and I stuck that on top kind of to give it a good seal. I call it a seal in quotation marks. So I got 1 more piece to cut here and then we'll be done, and it'll look hack job, but hey, it'll work just perfectly. So what's left now is to clean up. We put in the little platform here. Again, if you're going to do a lot of walking on this, you want to use 3/4 inch plywood. 1/2 inch is too thin, flex is too much. 4 or 6 screws on each panel to hold it on. This is merely here so I can get back and access the water valve on the shower in the master bedroom. Yeah, my drywall's a hack job, but hey, it keeps the heat in and that's what matters. So this should keep it warm enough. That's all I got. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see here. Maybe I'll do more of this stuff up in the attic. I don't know. We'll see. So leave a comment on what you do different besides cutting the drywall to fit better. Now you can say that too. So don't cut your thumb off. Have thumb out.